Let's now talk to Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Salman Jawondo, for more on this development. Thank you for joining us on the countdown. The Supreme Court is saying that its order, which temporarily barred the federal government and the CBN from enforcing its February 10 deadline, still stands. But the reality is, as at yesterday, the CBN did not honor that particular Supreme Court ruling. What has changed now with the Supreme Court adjournment?
Well, I thank you for having me. The Supreme Court position has remained unchanged. Because when the order was granted last Wednesday, it was to last until determination of the application, that's application for interlocutory injunction. That means with the sitting of the court today, the order continues to be in effect. And it is a tragedy for our country that an individual representing a public institution can come boldly to say that the order made by a first court in this country will not operate. It is a tragedy. And it is one of the darkest days in the annals of this country, especially as relates to democracy and the rule of law. You cannot imagine the same person who went to court that through a proxy or surrogate, that the court should say that he could contest the APC primary without resigning as CBN governor. And when he was to be arrested by DSS, through proxy again, he went and said, the court should grant an order that should not be arrested or invited. Now, the federal government, the Attorney General of the Federation is sued, and the court make an order, the apex court for that matter, and an individual purporting to represent the institution of the government has the effrontery and the boldness to come and address the world and say that order will not take effect. It is a tragedy for this country. And it also shows the level of indiscipline. The level of indiscipline in this present government as constituted. And I think it got to this level because our president has not been forthcoming. The very day the man indicated interest to contest APC primary, that was the day the president had to have dismissed him, not terminate him or remove him, to have dismissed him. Because you have somebody managing the economy of the country and dabbling into politics to the extent that he bought about 600 vehicles, collected APC for. That's so something is wrong somewhere. And that's why if we even go far to this length, it is quite unfortunate. But as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, that is the farthest the Supreme Court can go for now. You remember that the counsel to the plaintiff states indicated that he has a notice of non-compliance. And you know, the apex court, we always want to handle things with the highest expected level of maturity. It's a party should still abide by the order of the court. But I think it is quite unfortunate and it's a tragedy for this country.
And then, Senior Advocate, the reality on the ground right now, as at early this week, courts in Lagos, did not collect the owed money. We have also seen protests across the country reacting to what appears to be the defiance of the CBN and the scarcity of the Naira. But certain governors have started taking certain actions, Zamfara, Ogun, and Lagos state government threatening to prosecute any individual or business who is not taking this money. This appears to be the intervention that they have resorted to as an alternative in the face of CBN's refusal. Is this decision backed by law?
You see, when you have a situation where people who are in authority refuse to obey court order, you don't expect anything less than what we are saying now. Confusion. Now, those governments, the state government that have said taking that action, is to preempt crisis. Like it's happening in other states. Now, even in Lorry here, there were demonstrations, fire all over the police were drafted to scare away people. Banks are not opening. Now, that is the confusion. So the state government, I will commend them, those who have, even though you may say it's not back up with any law, but as government institutions, Supreme Court judgment or order is to be enforced by every authority and court below the Supreme Court that are subordinates of Supreme Court. So if the state government in some areas have now considered this is the best way we can prevent breakdown of law and order in our state, I don't think there's anything wrong. You may say two wrongs do not make it right, but in a situation where you expose Nigerians to suffering, unimaginable and quite unwarranted sovereign, then there's nothing wrong for state governors who are the security officers of their respective states to take steps to preempt and prevent breakdown of law of their state. And the only way you can prevent breakdown is to make sure that the hold note coexists, as the Supreme Court has said, with the new note. If the bank are not even working, where will you get the notes?
Indeed.
Whether new or hold.
Former Attorney General of Kwara State and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Salman Jawondo, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you very much.